can I wish you all Ramzan Mubarak. And we join here today, friends, for this very important gathering. I am a friend of the Rohingya community, and can I start again? This beautiful city of ours is a city of sanctuary, and I want to thank all my brothers and sisters from the Rohingya community for the huge contribution you make the fabric of our great city, and you are always welcome here. Can I also welcome our guests, in particular Nicholas, who is an independent investigator for the genocide and war crimes committed in Burma against the Rohingya. And you know, we are at a time today where the protection of international law could not be more important. Only days ago, we see again yet another illegal war in Iran that has no basis under international law, and that's the point I made in Parliament last week. And many would say this now is the last nail in the coffin of international law. But it is for us to continue to advocate for the international rules-based order and international law, because everybody must be treated equally under international law. And that's why this process, I remember in 2017, when I stood up in the Houses of Parliament to call out the genocide against the Rohingya, ministers at that time laughed at me. This is in Hansard. There's a record of this even today. So, you know, years on, I am delighted that the Gambia has brought a case to the International Court of Justice for genocide, but it shouldn't have taken years. At that point when that was happening, frankly, the international community was silent. In the same way, we see the silence of the international community whilst the genocide against the Palestinians continues even today. And I'm proud that I was, along with my colleague Richard Bergen, even in that case, we had the evidence sessions for war crimes against Israeli war crimes in Gaza, evidence which we presented to the Chief Prosecutor's Office at the ICC, and which contributed to the arrest warrants of people like Netanyahu. And that's the work Nicholas has been talking about. It is important that the investigators are allowed to do their work unhindered, have the financial support to be able to do their work, because Nicholas and his team, I mean, I had the pleasure of meeting them in Parliament earlier this week. Nicholas and his team have got a lot of the tragedy is the amount of evidential basis that is out there, not just on the norms of that we see today on social media, but actually going to many different countries where we see refugees that are there today and taking first-hand testimonies and evidence of them. And upon talking to Nicholas, I understand that there are still monetary and financial constraints. So since he probably doesn't even know this, since I last spoke to him, I've already written to the Minister to further provide from the UK's support for their investigation, to enable them to conduct a proper and thorough evidential-based investigation, to present that evidence to the ICC, to present that further evidence to the ICJ, and to make sure, because there must be, brothers and sisters, justice and accountability at the end of this. Genocides cannot go unchecked. War crimes cannot go unchecked. The persecution and ethnic cleansing of people cannot go unchecked. and we must make sure that we challenge that at the highest level on every international platform. That's why the work of the international investigators, whether that's in Myanmar, whether that's in Palestine, whether that's anywhere else in the world, is essential, is crucial. And we live in a world today where actually those international bodies that are there to provide justice, that are there to provide accountability, have come under attack themselves, in particular from the United States, but from other places as well. And we must safeguard that. We must stand with those in our international institutions of justice, in the ICC, in the ICJ, including the investigators, to make sure that nobody is able to put pressure on them to try to stop them and force them into moving away from delivering justice. Because justice will be delivered, accountability will be delivered, and anybody responsible for war crimes, for ethnic cleansing, for genocide must face the full arm of the law. And I will continue to make that case in Parliament. I will continue to stand side by side with independent investigators at the UN. I will continue to stand side by side with the ICC, with the ICJ, in all of its ongoing cases, whether that's the genocide against the Rohingya, the Palestinians, or anywhere else. Again, I'm grateful to my brothers and sisters from the Rohingya community for inviting us here today. Bradford is a place of hope. Bradford is a place that has always championed justice and stood up against injustice, and as your representative, I promise you I will continue to do that. Thank you very much.